Hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to present some information to you today. Nick and Dan over at OCI have asked me to put together some material for you to help you understand the opportunities and the available benefits for your employer groups. So we're going to spend some time talking about long-term care insurance in the workplace. If you have any questions or follow-up, please get a hold of Dan and Nick over at OCI. And let's just kind of get started. I hope everybody can see the screen. There is a web portion of this, but if you're just in the car or something, you're listening, that's okay too. My name is Michael Machlovitz. I am with National Guardian Life. I've been doing long-term care insurance for a little over 25 years, and I put together this presentation based upon lots of years of sales ideas and successes of agents and advisors in the workplace who currently and actively market long-term care insurance to employer groups. So hopefully you can draw from some of this material and do some successful marketing to some of your employers. We're going to look at some very valuable and desirable benefits that other agents present in the workplace. We're going to talk about how to present this information and what benefits might be available to your employers and employees. First, though, I thought I would share with you a little bit of information about the carrier that I represent. So from a carrier perspective, National Guardian Life is an AM Best, A- rated company. They're a mutual company that was formed over 100 years ago. They have currently over $4 billion in assets, so they're a sizable carrier. And they partnered with a company called Life Care Assurance years ago. Life Care is an expert in the long-term care insurance field. They've been doing administration for long-term care plans for over 30 years. Over 200,000 policyholders are on the books. They've administered billions of dollars of premium. They do claims adjudication and customer service. And NGL brings all of this history to the table for your employer group. So rest assured that if you're going to market long-term care, that you've got a strong carrier behind the scenes. So let's talk about the presentation. The topic today is going to revolve around long-term care insurance in the employer marketplace, in the workforce. And let's look at the value of offering long-term care insurance at the workplace, and also the desire by both employers and employees for you to offer it, and the need for them to ultimately undertake this. So from a business perspective, from the business's top-down looking at this approach, a recent study showed that approximately 40% of all caregivers are actively employed. And this is important because it shows the potential impact that long-term care can have on the productivity of a business. If an employee is out because they have to provide care or they have to manage the care of a spouse or a family member, it significantly impacts the productivity of a business. Or if an employee themselves becomes in need of long-term care, you can imagine that also would impact the viability of a business. And from a business perspective, to stay competitive, employers are kind of needing to offer this at a minimum because a lot of their peer companies are offering long-term care insurance. So, but better than that, they want to make sure that they're offering their employees a plan that can ultimately recruit high-quality employees, reward the ones that are with that employer group, and hopefully retain them. We've seen things like executive carve-out and golden handcuffs, and you might have heard of some of these terms. Some employer groups are using long-term care insurance as a way to incentivize employees to either come to them, stay with them, or simply just reward them while they're there. And from the employee's perspective, some of the value proposition that we've seen, the employees, they really want this type of insurance. They value this type of insurance because they see the devastating expenses and the impact long-term care has on their family's income, on their friends and associates' income. They see what the devastating impact of long-term care is to a family's financial well-being. And as such, there was also another recent study that was published that basically said that most employees want at least the option of buying long-term care insurance at their employer workplace. And furthermore, those employees would prefer to buy it at their employer workplace rather than across the kitchen table at their own house. So employees are looking for this valuable coverage, to be presented to them, and ultimately they want to buy it in the employer marketplace. Let's talk a little bit about some advantages to the employer and the employees of providing this type of coverage in the workplace. The IRS has given a gift to employers and employees regarding long-term care insurance. Well, it's not really a gift, but they have allowed certain tax advantages when utilizing long-term care insurance over other types of benefits that many employers are familiar with. So the key things to know, the key things to remember when it comes to long-term care insurance in the employer marketplace, first is that the premiums paid for employees and spouses are generally tax deductible. So your employers will benefit for any premiums that they pay on behalf of executives, owners, key personnel, and employees. They'll benefit by the possibility of a significant tax deduction. Additionally, also in addition to the tax deductions, the premium contributions that the employer pays on behalf of an employee will not be considered taxable income to that employee. So if I work for a company and my company is paying for my premium and they're deducting that premium, I don't pick that premium amount up as imputed income. It's just a deduction to the business. But interestingly, unlike most other products that are available in the employer marketplace, if I go on long-term care claim at any point in time, the benefits that I would receive are going to be tax-free income, well, tax-free benefits to me. Even though the employer deducted the premiums, my benefit is tax-free to me. There's a lot of other benefits that are available in the employer marketplace that don't have this available tax deduction. If the employer deducts it, oftentimes it becomes taxable benefit to the recipient. But when it comes to long-term care insurance, if the employer deducts the premium, the benefits to the recipient, to the employee, are still tax-free. And other things to know, just keep in mind that the employees of these companies, they can pay some of the premiums pre-tax from like an HSA account, health savings account. There's some limits, and if you want, we can follow up with anybody who's interested in the specifics about the taxation issues. But just keep in mind, the tax benefits of long-term care insurance in the employer marketplace are as good, if not better, than most of the other products that employers are currently offering to their employees. So let's also look at some various planning and sales opportunities you can bring to your employer groups, some funding strategies. Well, the first I'll refer to as an executive carve-out strategy. This opportunity allows an employer to place long-term care insurance on maybe segmented groups that the business can ultimately define. It can be as narrow as just the business owner. You can literally define a group as literally just one person, just the business owner, and maybe their spouse too, by the way. Or you can make it as liberal as creating one plan for the owner, a different plan for managers, and yet even a different plan for staff or other employees. Ultimately, the business can decide who does and doesn't get a plan and who gets what benefits. They can decide that also. So let's look at some of the key features of what we call an executive carve-out long-term care plan. Well, the first, as I mentioned before, is it's a tremendous way for an employer group to recruit key people, to recruit high-quality people, to reward them while they're employed, and ultimately to retain them, because maybe if they provide this valuable benefit, the employee won't be so quick to leave because they have good quality benefits at this employer group. From an employer perspective, they can selectively choose who does and doesn't participate. So unlike some other benefits at the employer marketplace, like some health insurance benefits and 401k benefits and stuff, some of these other benefits, if you do it for one person, you have to do it for everybody. When it comes to long-term care insurance planning, please know that you can selectively create groups of people. You can pick people who have been there for greater than 10 years. You can pick people who are management and above. You can pick just the owner. You can selectively choose who does and doesn't get a long-term care insurance program provided by the employer. You can also, in addition to providing the group or the selective groups who will or won't get these programs, you can also selectively choose the different plan design and the plan options and the plan benefits, what these different groups might get. So you can really create some very, very unique benefits that an employer might want to do. We talked a little bit about the taxation elements, being that there's a lot of benefits to deduct the premiums for an employer, and the benefits to an employee are tax-free benefits. You can have plan designs with our product. You can have plan designs that ultimately can be paid up during the employee's working years. We offer lifetime premium payments for our product. We offer 10-year premium payments where the product can be paid up in a limited period of time, 10 years. And we also offer single premiums for those executives that maybe are highly compensated and want to just, the company will just simply write a check one time and pay up that individual's long-term care program. Those are all available options in the employer marketplace. Also, we get this question asked a lot, well, what about if somebody leaves the employer? What happens to their program? The plans are fully portable. So if somebody is not at the employer group for whatever reason, termination or voluntary leave or whatever, they can simply take their product with them. Now, they might have to pay the premium on their own at that point, if there is a premium due, but the plans are fully portable. And lastly, one of the key benefits to talk to an employer about is that people's retirement plans are going to be put at risk if they don't provide protection against a healthcare event like long-term care, which sometimes happens during retirement years. A long-term care program is a great way to protect somebody's future retirement plans with long-term care insurance. Let's look at some value offerings, again, offering the employees a long-term care insurance plan. Again, I'm going to now call this one a base or buy-up program. Another planning and sales opportunity is where the employer could pay for a base policy design, and then the employees would have the option or the opportunity to buy up to a more comprehensive coverage. That's a very common design that we see in the employer marketplace. The employer would provide a base minimal level, and then the offer would be to the employees to do whatever they want to do up and above that. Additionally, we've seen some strategies where employees are able to implement a certain plan design that the employer would match or contribute to some predetermined percentage or amount to give the employee more benefits. So maybe I, as the employee, maybe I purchase a plan in the employer marketplace, in the employer group, but my employer will match a portion of my premium. And as an idea, instead of taking money that maybe would be a match for my 401k plan, maybe they would reposition that money and use it to pay for my long-term care program. Very successful idea. We've seen a lot of people utilize that. Another successful idea is related to the disability income world. And by drawing from another commonly offered or commonly purchased benefit in the workplace, disability insurance, you can kind of allow the employer to see some additional benefits of long-term care insurance. So let me give you some ideas as to what that might look like. But let me pause for a second and just kind of pose some questions. Just think about these questions as we go through them. Why do people go to work? Well, I would argue that most people go to work to earn an income. And the question then becomes, could most people stop working and maintain a lifestyle that they've become accustomed to? Well, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't know anything about these employees and their financial lives, but the question then starts to become, maybe they're not going to stop and work and have enough income, but what about if their income stops because of something that they didn't plan for? What would happen? What's the consequence if their income just simply stopped? I would argue that it's possibly financially devastating to a family if one person's income stops. And what about if the income is directed to something else, like a long-term care event? Well, again, I would suggest that it could be financially devastating to a family if they had to reposition their income to pay for long-term care expenses. So most people go about protecting their most important asset, and that arguably is, at least during their working years, their income. And this is a very common presentation that a lot of agents make when they're soliciting for disability insurance. So let's talk about income in the employer market, the employer group. People are always, thinking about their income, and they want to protect it, and they protect it with disability insurance. So why do people buy disability insurance? Well, they use it as a source of money to pay bills in case they're unable to generate the income on their own. Disability insurance replaces their income if they become disabled. That product is usually purchased and most often utilized during a person's working years. But keep in mind, long-term care insurance in your employer groups can also be used as a source of money to pay bills for employees who need it. But those bills are a little different. Those bills are long-term care bills, healthcare bills to pay for long-term care. This is oftentimes used either during one's working years or it can be utilized in retirement years. Now, disability insurance typically is for people during their working years, and it usually goes away at some point in time, usually. Long-term care insurance can be an adjunct to that to pick up where disability insurance leaves off so that during their working years as well as potential retirement years, they can provide a shield against their declining health from their wealth so that they can keep their income to do what it was supposed to do, but the long-term care insurance will pay for a health care change like long-term care. That's what long-term care insurance is designed to do. So as a sales idea, maybe talk to your employer groups about an adjunct to a long-term disability program. The next phase of that would be, or could be, a long-term care program. Keep in mind, long-term care insurance can be used to protect retirement income. That seems to resonate with employer groups to talk about income during retirement. Let me bring up from a product perspective so you understand how this product gets underwritten. Let me share with you, and you'll see on the screen there, most people will probably fall in the upper portion, the 40 to 65-year-old section, whereby we request medical records from all employees, the employer, whoever is at the employer group that's going to undertake this program. We will request medical records. We'll do behind the scenes a prescription drug check. We'll also potentially do a phone interview for these applicants. So we'll go get the medical records and the employee will get a phone interview, and that generally is the process of getting somebody underwritten for our program. If they're a little bit older, like 66 to 79 years old, instead of a phone interview, we might go out, send somebody out and visit with them to do what's called a face-to-face interview. But everybody will get medical records, and most of your employees will simply just get a phone interview. We take care of the medical records. They don't have to do anything for that. In the process of figuring out who might and might not be eligible, we have put this little statistic out here that most of your employees, most of them, probably 90+% of them, will fall in our top two health categories, Preferred Plus and Preferred. So arguably in the employer marketplace, you've got people that are actively getting up and going to work and they're not necessarily old. You probably will have a very high eligibility percentage of people because you're working in the employer marketplace. But if you really want to know who's eligible, we highly suggest that you pre-qualify your applicants, your potential applicants. So we've created a form, call it an underwriting pre-qualification form. OCI can get this form to you. And basically, if you pre-fill this form out, send it in to us. You can either fax it in, you can email it in, you can call it in. We will help you understand whether or not you have an employee with a health impairment that might prohibit or preclude them from getting coverage. So as much information as you can provide us, we'll be able to provide you back a best guess based on the information you're providing us as to whether or not that person will be eligible, and if they are eligible, whether or not they would be eligible like in our Preferred Plus rate class or our Preferred rate class, and we also have a standard rate class. Keep in mind that we don't have a guaranteed issue product. We don't have a simplified issue product. We have a product that does, in fact, get fully underwritten. Everybody gets fully underwritten, but it allows the ability for certain things. It allows us the ability to provide your applicants, your employees, very rich benefits and comprehensive protection. It also allows us to keep our premium as low as we possibly can because we're not having a pool of insureds with potential significant health problems, health issues, because we put out a guaranteed issue product. It also maintains a good block of premium stable long-term care insurance. We don't want to have to come back in the future and explain why we have a problematic block of business. By fully underwriting everybody, we can keep our premium stable and a good quality, healthy block of business. It also allows us to provide you no minimum participation limits. So if you have an employer group and you want to maybe do like an executive carve-out where you only want to provide long-term care insurance to maybe an owner or a manager or maybe just a select number of people, we don't really have a participation limit. As long as you have 5 or more eligible employees, we can provide premium discounts and give you all the things that we've just talked about, but only one applicant needs to apply for the program. So keep in mind, you can just work with one person at the company. As long as there's 5 or more, they'll be eligible for premium discounts. And because you're working in the employer marketplace, because most people, they actively get up and get to work and they generally are not older, you'll find that most of the people that you work with at the employer marketplace will be eligible for coverage. Not everybody, unfortunately, but most people will. From a product perspective, I didn't want to get too detailed into the nuances of our product on this call, and I'm happy to do that on a follow-up call if you want to know the nuances of our plan design and stuff. But from a very high level, we offer a very comprehensive long-term care insurance program. Some of the features that we offer on this program, we have lifetime long-term care benefits. We're probably the only traditional long-term care carrier out there that in fact does offer lifetime benefits. If the person goes on claim, their benefits will never get exhausted. But for those people that don't choose a lifetime benefit period, our product offers a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6-year benefit period to pay for long-term care. We also have a product that has a rider called shared benefits, where 2 people can draw from the benefits of a third pool of money. It's a very cost-effective way to get a lot of long-term care benefits to your prospects and employees who have maybe a spouse or something that they're going to also join coverage with. We also offer, like I mentioned before, from a premium payment perspective, we also offer a lifetime premium, a single premium where you can pay one time and be done. Premium is fully guaranteed. You'll never see your clients, your prospects, they'll never have a rate increase on our product. And we also offer a 10-year premium payment model where they can pay up our product over a 10-year period of time. After the 10th year, there is no more premium. Product is fully paid up, non-cancelable, guaranteed renewable. Your clients will never see a premium ever again. We also offer multiple inflation protection options because you will be working with a lot of younger people because it's an employer group. We offer multiple inflation options, and that's really important because we don't want somebody to wake up 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now with a product that doesn't have benefits that would be comprehensive for future expensive claims. It's a very, very good way for a young person to buy a plan today, lock in rates based upon their good health and the premium that is being charged today, and then have a benefit that will increase over time. We do offer that. We also offer multiple health rating classes. We offer, as I mentioned, Preferred Plus, Preferred, and a standard health rating for those people that might have some significant health impairments. Being that you'll be in the employer group marketing this stuff, just know, as I mentioned, as long as you have 5 or more eligible employees, we can offer premium discounts. In most states, we offer a 5% discount, and in some states, well, currently New Jersey, but also we will be rolling this out to multiple other states pretty soon, we will offer a unisex rate, which will really help employees in the employer marketplace. And lastly, as I mentioned before, our product is a tax-qualified long-term care insurance product, which allows all the available IRS deductions, it allows all the tax-free benefits. We have all of that stuff, and again, if anybody would like any further follow-up on the taxation elements of it, we can follow up on a different call and provide you some information regarding the taxation of long-term care insurance benefits. There's a lot of good stuff that happens in long-term care insurance regarding the taxation benefits. And you'll find that most consumers, when you present our product, it's a very cost-competitive product. We're very cost-competitive with some of the other stuff that's available in the industry. And for you as the agent, you'll be able to provide a lot of value to your prospects, to the employers. So what do you do now? What's the call to action here? Well, I would suggest that the first for you is to identify some employer groups, some opportunities. And good places to look to find who a good prospect might be, employers that provide comprehensive benefits already. They tend to be more open to offering long-term care insurance as another valuable benefit to their employees. And another very good time to talk to employers is during their open enrollment periods. Everybody's talking about insurance and benefits and stuff. If you have an employer group that you have coming up a open enrollment period, that's a great time to start offering and implementing long-term care insurance in the employer marketplace. Once you establish a prospect, then look to try to get some support from the key players, from the owners, from the HR people, from whoever you're working with who might be a decision maker. Look to get some buy-in from them that this is something that they really want to offer to their employees. And once you get the buy-in, offer them some ideas and some possible solutions as to how you can go about presenting this stuff to the employees. Now keep in mind, if this isn't your specialty or you don't want to embark upon this necessarily on your own, if this just isn't something that you're going to kind of focus on as a primary source of your business, I'm going to make a suggestion that you bring in a partner, a specialist, somebody who kind of does this and understands this and knows the nuances. So once you identify a prospect and you get some level of buy-in, at least to discuss long-term care insurance, you can transition the sales process to a partner, a long-term care insurance partner at OCI. We'll talk more about the opportunity to do some joint work with them in a minute, but if you're comfortable presenting long-term care insurance, I would suggest that the next steps would likely be for you to decide on the levels of benefits, maybe different benefit levels for different classes of employees as we talked about. You can share with the employer that you can do executive carve-out programs. You can selectively choose who does and doesn't get what. So decide on the different benefit levels. You'll run some you'll run some illustrations after obtaining a census. We can help you with the census information to create material for the employer group. At that point, you'll probably make some announcements. Your announcements will talk about maybe some on-site meetings, maybe some education information that you'll present. You'll also bring some quotes, let the employer know about any potential dates and some deadlines that might be applicable, maybe through open enrollment periods and things like that. You'll make some presentations. Mostly the presentations, from my perspective, are designed to educate prospects, to show them the choices, but keep it simple. Keep it really simple. And I've noticed that there's a lot of agents out there that do a good job of presenting like good, better, best benefits. Keep it real simple. Focus on today's benefits, the cost effectiveness of looking at this while the employees are in good health and at younger ages. And ultimately, hopefully you'll do some enrollments. And we have an e-app online enrollment process that can help you in the employer marketplace in case there's any maybe spouses or any employees that work remotely. We can help you implement this process as easy as possible. But again, to reiterate, for those of you that don't necessarily want to embark upon this as a long-term care specialist, but you do have access to employer groups and you have the availability to talk to them about different opportunities to help employees, if you're not wanting to do this on your own and you don't want to miss out on this opportunity, I would suggest that you do some joint work with a specialist who knows what to do. And OCI, I don't want to get too heavy on behalf of them. I don't want to necessarily get too much in the weeds. I'll let them do that. But they offer a couple of programs, different opportunities, how you can work with them. Their 75-25 opportunity, their 50-50 opportunity. Depends on the quantity of work that they do and the quantity of work that you do. Again, I'm going to let them follow up with you on the availability of some joint work with them. But they do this really well. They're a premier partner of ours. And by doing some joint work with a specialist, you can prevent others from working with your client. Because if you or your specialist aren't showing them long-term care insurance, there's a possibility that another agent might come into that employer group and in fact show it to them. By working with a specialist, it allows you to be in two places at one time. You can keep doing what you're doing, and the specialist could be doing what they're doing on your behalf. You can kind of be in two places at one time. A specialist can help you potentially capture some commissions on some business that somebody else might actually come in there and write. I actually have a friend who goes into employer groups, and he's very successful at asking who handles the insurance. And when they kind of say, well, we have a guy, he just asks a simple question. Well, can I handle it? So just be aware, somebody might come in and offer long-term care insurance. It might as well be you, and if not you, bring your specialist in and let them do it on your behalf. Bring somebody in who knows the intricacies of doing long-term care insurance in the workplace, and you might be viewed as kind of a trusted advisor who has access to quality resources and people who can come and help through all these processes. You'll be bringing a great service and offering to your clients, and as such, because this process could work really well for them, you might get some quality referrals to other employer groups because now you have brought this to their table. And for you, your benefit here is you can shift the responsibilities of all the stuff that long-term care encompasses, the sales presentations, the administration of it. If in the future there's a claim, maybe the claims process, you can shift that to somebody who does this often and consistent and really knows how to get through this stuff. But the bottom line is, I kind of view this as the bottom line. Working with a specialist simply allows you to stay focused on what you do best. If long-term care insurance is not necessarily going to be a primary focus and a specialty of yours, let somebody else work with your prospects and your clients. Do a good job for them. You'll look like the hero. But the bottom line is you can stay focused on what you do. I thank you for your time and allowing me to present a few pieces of information. I'm going to leave my contact information on the screen, but I highly suggest that you get in touch with OCI, bring to them some cases. We can work with them on your behalf to put together some material for you. It's a great marketplace. It's an untapped marketplace. I think you'll find that many employer groups are willing to discuss long-term care insurance. They're looking for this. They don't know who to talk to. Might as well be you, and if not you, bring your specialist in. Thank you, everybody, for your time. OCI is probably going to follow up with you, and if there's any questions that arise, we as a carrier, National Guardian Life, we will always be available to assist in any way that we can. Thank you all for your time.